we have to fight for on behalf of Kenyans. Today, I want to interest you in just two. One is the two freedoms we have to prioritize.
Welcome to a world of instant. Instant coffee, instant toast, even instant popcorn. Now, for the first time ever, get instant Mabati quotations. Introducing the Mabati Calculator.
Secondly, electoral freedom. The electoral justice that will ensure the votes the people of Kenya cast during elections are counted and are respected. We believe that social and economic justice goes hand in hand with the struggle for electoral justice. They care about statistics. How much money has been collected in taxes? How much loan the people have taken? The percentage at which the economy is growing. Illegitimate regimes don't realize that behind those statistics, there are real human beings bearing a yoke they do not deserve and cannot survive. That is where we are today with Kenya Kwanza. It is about statistics, not the people. Kenyans deserve a government that understands that the people are hungry and angry, that people need jobs, that people need wage increases to be able to live with dignity, that people need better prospects for the future. Kenyans want and deserve to live well and eat well. They want good and well-paying jobs, and they want their salaries to be constantly adjusted above the inflation. I know no nation in history that has ever put up with such a huge tax burden as Kenyans are bearing today and survived. Kenyans now work for taxes. Tax now comprises close to half of the prices of goods our people buy. And I give an example. Today, if you pay 100 shillings for water, 70 shillings of that money is tax. Kenyans need justice on taxation front, and we're the only people to take up this battle. We must force an end to taxation policies that place heavier tax burden on the middle class and the extreme poor, while those to the administration easily avoid taxes and are reimbursed their proceeds through proceeds of crime. We must lead Kenyans to demand social and economic justice predicated on access to jobs, a fair minimum wage, a free education for all our children, in addition to abolition of punitive taxes. The country is crying for social programs that can lift the people from poverty. We cannot accept as normal that millions of our people have nothing to eat and that their poverty is being weaponized and politicized to give legitimacy to a rudderless and illegitimate regime. The time has come for the full implementation of social and economic aspect of the Bill of Rights in our Constitution, and we must lead that push. Kenyans deserve some guaranteed minimum income during these tough times. The social protection programs, which guarantee a basic monthly income, must be reinstated and expanded. In our push for social and economic justice for the people of Kenya, we must also strongly oppose plans to sell off state-run parastatals and ensure these entities serve the public good rather than lining the pockets of individuals in government. With regard to electoral justice, We must return this country to the ideal that the government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the people. The people express their preferences through the ballot, and that the preferences made at the ballot must be respected. As I have said before, Kenya has become a laboratory for bad election practices that others borrow around the continent. An organized elite keen to protect narrow selfish interests has forged strategic alliances and captured strategic systems and institutions, the sole purpose of subverting the substance of elections. As a result, the majority is at the mercy of the minority with regard to free, fair, transparent, and credible elections. People wake up at dawn, stand in long queues to cast their ballot.
It's been a long year, can we all agree? Feels good to be back in Tennessee. Ain't no place I'd rather be, sitting next to you, next to me. How you been, how you been, how you been? Picking right up with some real old friends. Been so long it should be a sin, but here we are again. We're having a revival, good Lord, hallelujah. These red dirt road disciples got spirits running through us. It's rowdy reminiscing and tailgate conversation. Yeah, we got this down home, hometown congregation. Having a revival, revival, revival. Having a revival, revival, revival.
Brothers here have talked about. One, I want to begin to tell you here that nobody has asked for, and there will be no handshake. They've kept on talking wherever they go. Oh, these people are doing this because they want to be called for handshake and so on. You have not asked anybody for handshake, and we don't want any handshake. What we are talking about is we are doing this in the interest of this country. In the last elections, we negotiated with Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, and what we agreed on was put in a memorandum of understanding, which we made public on the day of the handshake. And that is what informed the decision to set up a task force which came up with the BBI. That was the basis of the handshake. We then, as the opposition, never had any position in government. We did not even appoint a CS, not even a minister. So there's been a propaganda which has been spread by this team of Kenya Kwisha that we were responsible for the problems within Jubilee government. We never had a say in the Jubilee government. We never had anybody appointed even as a head of parastatal in the Jubilee government. Not even a permanent secretary in the Jubilee government. You have never had. They are the ones who are in government, the ones who are living there, earning a salary, having protection of security and so on, and yet they come out to the government and saying that the government had failed. If it failed, they were part and parcel of that failure, not us. Now, those who have spoken before have given you historical background to political development in our country from independence to where we are. We had a multi-party system at independence. We had KANU and KADU and APP. Eventually, KADU and APP dissolved and joined KANU. They all joined KANU without having to go for any by-elections. They just walked across the aisle from one side to the other side. But later on, when there was now internal contradictions within KANU, then they came up with a constitutional amendment that required that if you left the party that sponsored you into parliament, and you resign from that party, then you have to go back for a by-election, a re-election, to seek the mandate. That existed at the period when they had the KPU. Then, after KPU was banned, we had now a de facto one-party state, de facto, from 1969 to 1982, when they came up with another amendment that made the country now a de jure single party. Now you are a member of just KANU, that's the only when you can be elected. And if you were suspended or expelled from the party, you automatically lost your parliamentary seat. And by-election was held in your constituency. That went on until we put pressure for repeal of Section 2A and allowing for formation of other political parties, which we achieved in 1991. After that, we had the first multi-party elections in 1992. And then we went into parliament. We had KANU, Ford Kenya, Ford Asili, and the DP. We had also Kenya Social Congress of the late George Anyona. After the swearing in, the swearing in and the election of the Speaker, before Parliament was officially inaugurated by the President, some members defected. One from Port Kenya, one from the DP. And this now occasioned a by-election. They were defecting to the ruling party, to KANU. But the requirement is that if you defect from the party that sponsored you in the parliament, you have to go for a by-election. And we have by-elections in Migori and in Bonchari. This one we had by-elections in Lugari, when Apili Wawire, the MP, then defected. There was also a by-election in Hamisi, when the member of parliament, the late Mr. Haniri, defected. Later on we had by-elections in Ikolomani, in Lurambi, in Shinyalu, when members there defected. We had also by-elections in Dhiwa and Nyatiki constituency. Each time a member of parliament left the party that sponsored them to parliament, they had to resign and go and seek fresh mandate. That was the rule. I myself resigned from the party that had sponsored me into elections, Ford Kenya, when we disagreed irreparably with the leadership. I resigned and went and sought a fresh mandate from the people of Langat, and I was re-elected. This was the situation during all that period of time until now we came to 2010 Constitution. The 2010 Constitution now created a presidential system of government. But all the same, it says clearly that Kenya is a multi-party democracy. Kenya is a multi-party democracy. A multi-party democracy, mature multi-party democracies, there is nothing like defection. You see a situation like the last time, there was only one member difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. But the situation where a member of a Democrat would defect to go and join Republicans is unthinkable. There are very few cases in history. It will not work. In the UK, it's unthinkable that a member of the Labour Party will defect and join the Tories. It does not happen. It does not happen. You are elected on this party's mandate and you remain the member of that party unless you are expelled from the party. Remain a member of the party. In the German parliament, the same. You are a Christian Democrat, a Christian Socialist, you are a social democrat, and so on and so forth. This is the direction we must go in this country. We have had coalitions, a pre-election coalition because of the presidential nature of our system here. But you are elected as a member of a party which is a member of a coalition. A member of a party which is a member of the coalition, the party should not actually resign, it should not leave the coalition. That because as you're going to the people, you are going with a mandate, you are going with the manifesto of the coalition. And you are being elected on the basis of the manifesto of that party. It is very cheap and principled for a political party to say, after the elections, you're now resigning and now going to join another coalition, the one you ran against. That is political prostitution. No basis at all. On what basis did UDM resign from Azimio to go the other side, even before the speaker had been elected, even before members had been sworn in? What was it that was now more attractive in Kenya Kwanza than in Azimio? Merely because of political expediency. Political prostitution is something that must stand condemned by all civilized Kenyans. Then now the so-called Kenya Kwanza is being proud that they are majority. It's an artificial majority because the people they have here have not gone to ask the people who elected them whether they want to go to Kenya Kwanza. They are going there, they're going and voting with the people against whom their own elected voted. They were elected against those people. So now Mr. Ruto is enjoying an artificial majority which does not deserve. And therefore we do not respect any laws that are passed by that artificial majority. Now you come to voting in parliament. You will see what Kenya Kwanza is trying to do is to abuse the so-called artificial majority to change laws of the country, very fundamental laws. You have a situation where we find that I don't want to call him president, the head of the executive, is writing to the speaker for the speaker to initiate a legislation that will end up with creating a position of a leader of official opposition. Now, ordinarily, first, the president cannot initiate a constitutional amendment. That was even the ruling of the Supreme Court. Secondly, the speaker does not originate legislation. The speaker sits there and waits for laws to be brought, the bills to be brought to him. Usually, if the government wants any legislation, first there must be a cabinet memorandum. That matter is discussed in the cabinet. The cabinet then approves it. It goes to the Attorney General, who then now complete the bill. The draft bill which has passed by the cabinet is then given to the leader majority, who now comes and tables it before the House. That is how the civilized parliament work. So this law, which is supposed to be initiated by the president through the speaker, is null ab initio, null and void, and should not be accepted by parliament. And our advice is that our members of parliament should not accept to deliberate the legislation. The other one is saying that these members who have defected from Azimio coalition need to resign their positions and go. Then secondly, you see a new dangerous phenomenon developing, that members of parliament are approaching the executive supposedly for development in their constituencies. Under our current constitutional dispensation, the resources are being actually allocated by Parliament. Parliament is the one that the executive comes with a budget proposal to Parliament. Parliament looks at those budget proposals and then agrees on how to allocate resources. So the days when members of Parliament used to go and see mtukufu Rais Nyayo, ati ulituahidia sisi utaleta mradi ya maji hapa, utajenga local housing hii hapa, barabara hii itatengenezwa, kwenda piga magoti chini kwa rais alete maendeleo. Imekwisha. That era is gone. You don't need. If you want to go and see Mr. President as a person of prayer in State House, go. But if you want to go and talk about issues that affect the party, then you must be given permission by the party before you go to see the president. What you see, these people must be seen for what they are, traitors in the cause of a revolution. We are in the course of a very serious issue. What we have through here is the course to bring the people of Kenya at the center of development of our country and also to get electoral justice. They have said these people are not fair losers. But I want to tell you, and they're saying, oh, Baba had allowed people to go and meet with the president here and there. Now he's saying he does not recognize the government. No, what I've said, I never said that I was recognizing the government even at that time. But that was a time also before the whistleblower came out with a glaring evidence, which we also had ourselves. That evidence is available to us. But the whistleblower came out as an insider and came out with irrefutable evidence of the rigging of the elections. That information which is there, I want to invite you to know, is information that is verifiable. We had ourselves also hired an expert from outside the country. You will remember we were in the Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court, our lawyers demanded that we be allowed access to the server so that we can be able to get authentic information. The Supreme Court said they agreed, but the collusion of one of the judges who was in charge of the ICT, the registrar did not allow our people access to the server. Our experts were there. A letter came from the company that was offering providing the services, Smartmatics, saying that they cannot allow access to the server because that would infringe on their proprietary rights. Here is a company hired by the government, paid to provide the technical services for the country. And there's a dispute over the results. And one of the parties to the dispute is asking to be allowed access to the server, so because that is where the information went. And the company is refusing to allow us access to the server. And then later on, the Supreme Court comes out and saying, we do not have a case. Now, I think it is important for me to point out to the members here, the structure that was in place on the 9th of August, when people went to vote. That structure is you had what you call the KIM system. The voters were being identified biometrically. And after they've been identified, they're being given ballot papers to go and cast. At the end of the day, these ballot papers were being counted. And after they've been counted, then the presiding officer at the polling station would enter them in a form that they call Form 34A. That 34A will be completed. Then the presiding officer would sign. And then the agents would countersign. Then the presiding officer would announce the results publicly. And then he would scan those results and press a button to transmit to the server. Then he would paste a copy of the results in a wall somewhere. Then he would go with that from 34A to the tallying center, constituency tallying center, where there's a returning officer. The presiding officer will come with from 34A there, and the returning officer will receive 34As, and then it would be added. This is now on from 34B. They will be added, and after they will be added, you will sign with this ID number, telephone number. Then the agent of the parties will countersign. Then he will stamp the IB stamp. Then he will announce the results, and then he will again scan and transmit. Those are the results which are authentic. Now, the information available in the whistleblower's report there has authentic original results from 245 constituencies. Original, with the IEBC stamp, with the signature of the returning officers, countersigned by party agents, with then ID numbers and their telephone numbers, and there is a barcode also there. That barcode, if you scan, tells you the location, the date, the time when that transmission was done. It cannot be copied. It's authentic. So I want you to know that the report in the IBC whistleblower is authentic report, authentic information. It shows that at 245 constituencies, Mr. William Ruto got 4.6 million votes, and we got 7.1 million votes. If you add the 45 which were not transmitted electronically, where the returning officers came with the physical forms to IBC Center at Bomas. If you take those results and now add up 245 plus 45, that is 290 constituencies, plus the diaspora, then Mr. William Ruto gets 5.9 million votes, and we get 8.1 million votes, a difference of 2.2 million votes. That's authentic, cannot be denied, cannot be contradicted. The IBC cannot contradict it. They're just now saying somebody must have probably get crashed in there and got information. That's the investigation they're doing. But they will not come out and say this is not authentic information. And that's why we're saying, if you're denying, let us have an independent institution like the Commonwealth or the AU to come and access the server and audit it. What is the server? But on the basis of that information, we might be saying, it's not that we are lamenting. If this matter is not rectified, what would be the reason for Kenya to wake up again in 2027 to go to an election? If at the end of it, one madman called Wafula Chebukati, or who has been paid, comes out and says, I'm the returning officer, I'm the one who has been gazetted, I'm therefore the one with the results. Because what happened on that day? Wafula Chebukati left Bomas of Kenya at 5 a.m. claiming that he was tired and was going to rest. By that time, there are still 29 constituencies left which had not been tallied. He did not come back. By the time he came back at 2 o'clock, he called these commissioners and says that he has got the final results. They ask him, where did you get the results? We have been waiting for you here. Oh, my staff have already tabulated. They say, but how can we cannot be part of it because we are still waiting to tally the other constituencies. He says, no, I'm the returning officer. Now the returning officer is going with the two other commissioners to make an announcement. Now you have a commission of 7 members. That commission could not be 6 members. It cannot be 2 members. It cannot be 4. It cannot be 8. It cannot be 10. It has been an odd number. That's why there were 7. There could be 9. Now, 4 out of 7 majority say no. 3 say yes. And this is upheld by the Supreme Court. Something must be seriously wrong with our nation here today. Because you need to go with the majority opinion. There was a dispute over the results which were announced by Mr. Ofula Chebukati. So we are saying that these matters must be corrected. These matters must be corrected before Kenyans can even think of going for an election. And we are saying that this regime is an illegitimate regime. And that's why I've said, this is the time for politics. You will be told the time for politics is over. Now it's time for development. I believe I'm addressing a team of politicians. If there's a time for politics is over, there's no job for members of parliament. Because that is what you're doing, that's what you're paid for. You're politicians. That's why you're in parliament. And politics and development are intertwined. Politics and development are intertwined like 2 mating dogs. Someshikana. This is what you're paid for. You're paid to politic. You're paid to politic. If the time for politics is over, then they close parliament, unless the bureaucrats continue doing the development. The work of politicians is to politic, and politics is development. And that's why there's no need for politicians to go and beg the executive for development. That's the right of the people of Kenya. People of Kenya pay taxes. They pay taxes, and that's why it should not be like as if it is a generosity of the president that you're going to get foods. That's because of the president is considerate. You're going to get water. You're going to get health centers. You're going to get affordable housing scheme. That is why you go to national government with a clear mandate, and you also have county government with a clear mandate. And our party, our movement must be seen to be defending devolution. Devolution is an outcome of a very lengthy process, and there are very many people who opposed devolution. They didn't want it. So we must insist. These people had said that they are going to go to 35%. Now they're not even able to give 15%. So Parliament, both Senate and the National Assembly, must stand up and defend the county government. They say they're wanting 480 billion. That is what the minimum 425 billion. That must be given, because that is what has also been approved by the commission. So I therefore want to finish by saying we are having barazas with the people, consultative barazas, people's barazas, which will help us to actually articulate the views of the people. We must have this, we must continue to have these barazas. These barazas will help us to sensitize our people of their democratic rights, which has been stolen. These people know that they stole elections, and they want to rule you as if they won elections. And they want to turn this country into a single-party dictatorship. So parties will have no voice in parliament. And they are trying to use money and so on to woo our people into their side. So let's go to the people. The power to the people. So we are going to have these consultative meetings, and they're not going to last very long. But we must have them. Tomorrow we are going to be in Mavoko Declaration. On Sunday we are going to be in Busia. On Monday we will be in Kisii. Then on Friday or Saturday we are going to be in Narok. That we've already agreed with Olekina there. So these are Azimio barazas, consultation with the people of Kenya, and they invite all our members who are available to come there and show the face of Azimio. Azimio must bring the change that this country very badly requires. This is the mission. This is the responsibility of our people, and this is what I am actually delivering back to you people. I'm throwing a challenge. Stand up and be counted on the right side of history in our country. Thank you. Azimio! 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 Azimio!
Can we give Baba a round of applause that he surely deserves? Let's just be seated for a few minutes. Just 1 minute. Kidogo tu, Honorable Manjala. Just 1 second. Some housekeeping issues. We are doing well so far. And as you know, we are here until tomorrow. Okay? But we don't intend to have this program running into the night. We shall finish it before the nightfall. Definitely. Then we proceed for a cocktail dinner. Now, let me introduce our next presenters who will be coming in after lunch, because we are breaking for lunch shortly. That is, but of course we'll be introduced more in more detail by the session chairs. Professor Gitile Naituli of Multimedia University, he has just arrived. Of course, we had Dr. Haman Manyora in the house. I haven't seen him here. Okay. He'll also be coming in after lunch. So I'll be suggesting, therefore, that the Q&A sessions for the three thematic areas be consolidated. Okay? After the two remaining presentations. And then we merge it with the plenary session. A short plenary session before we wrap up. But we'll be given enough time to air your views. We want this to be as interactive as possible. That when we leave here tomorrow, having come up with our solutions, we can only have them implemented without any obstacle. So without further ado, therefore, if you may allow me, would I be in order if I suggest that we proceed for lunch? But we shall pay first for the lunch. But before we pay for lunch, could we hear what is burning from Honorable Wanjala? What is it? Yes, proceed, Honorable Wanjala.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Your Excellency, the former Prime Minister. You have explained to us, and some of us, we have been in this struggle right from 1992. And we are bleeding in our hearts. And the other day, I saw the prosecutors going back to court and telling the Court of Appeal that actually whatever they had confiscated, 7 billion from the Deputy President, they didn't have enough evidence, and there's no evidence. Now that we have gotten this evidence, we have this concrete evidence, is it possible and Dr. Otienda Mole is here, it's a lawyer, and many other lawyers here, that we go back for review in the Supreme Court. We hear what they are also going to tell us. Because this thing, where it is heading, even in the village, people are almost start fighting. Because nobody is ready. Because Kenyans are suffering out there, Your Excellency, because you lost elections, and they are very bitter. Is there a way we can go for review in courts?
Thank you very much. We shall pack it for the plenary session. In the meantime, Honorable will be doing some research. I don't think he needs to do that anyway. He has it in his head. So can we therefore proceed? But before we do so, those of us who do not have the lunch or meal vouchers, please get them from this lady, Isabel Gitinchi. The lady standing in front of you. Okay, before you can proceed for lunch. We shall live in an orderly manner. There is enough lunch for every.
But when you go out there looking for him and looking for photoshops, I don't know whether it is not very useful. Mimi nataka kumalizia, because I wanted to say this. One of the reasons that somebody is saying tumeenda is because when we were at Stone Earth, Your Excellency, and you are reading the resolutions of the Stone Earth on who is going to be a leader where, one of them is saying, wewe SG hauku represent. And I've been telling the person, when our leader is speaking, kama sasa atakuja ongea hapa, na wewe usimame pale unaanza kumjibu, hiyo sio kuongea. That is heckling. It is heckling. And it's a lack of decorum. You engage leadership in a structured and well-behaved manner. The issues he was heckling about, we had already talked about them, the leadership, and agreed on how we were going to help going forward. But even when you heckle, you make things worse. So there will be very many excuses that will be thrown around. None of them will hold on the wall. We have the two ladies, wonderful ladies here. I mean, this Mheshimiwa, she has come to her mara yake ya kwanza. Na akikuongeza, what is this? You know, if you have been in Punge once, twice, 3 times, na huwezi kuona kwamba hii safari kuna watu wanakudanganya, wewe kuna shida. Na ile safari tunaenda ni mzito kuliko hii ya kukubaliana hapa ati namna gani. So we actually want dedicated people. We are not out to kick people out. But if you choose to go to another party, do it decently. Resign, go, let us have a by-election. Those who want you, let us have them learning you on their ticket. Ukishida ni sawa, Kenya bado itaendelea. Lakini sio hii maneno ya kurukaruka, unaenda mguu uko nusu, umetuashia mguu ingine pande hii. Ama ile watu wanasema pole, we are together, we may not be together physically, but we are together in spirit. Hatutaki hiyo roho ya kuachiwa, hapana, hata hiyo spirit beba. Kwa sababu kituagia hiyo spirit inakuja kusubua sisi, and it keeps us not going on. So I want to confirm here that we are here because we are here, and it's because we are part of this. And the journey that is ahead of us, we will move with it. We have, I know there will be other debates that we are going to have. I want to tell you the movement that we have of resisting a steal of our votes that was occasioned within Jubilee zones more than any other requires people, men and women of character, to keep going. This is another battle, just like the one that has been fought many times. Those days when Baba was fighting, alikuwa na watu walikuwa naitwa akina Mwite, Imanyara, Robia, nani mwingine, Koigi, Matiba, hawako sasa. Ladies and gentlemen, tuko, we will fill that gap, and we do not need many. We need the Wajiko. Na Wajiko wako kule chini anapiga sufuria, ako na jaa. Kama wewe umeenda State House umechiba, wachana na wale ambao wako na jaa. We have not kicked anybody, we are still open. Lakini kama kuna mengine hatuwezi wacha, lakini tunaendelea. Asanteni sana and God bless you. Let me take this opportunity to welcome His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, the party leader, the party that has remained very steady, haijayubayuba, they have resisted all the temptations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ndugu Jeremiah. Ndugu Raila Amolo Odinga,